Hello everyone, Emily here. Today I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of the solution validation results for the navigation for CustomersDot to represent the new user billing account data structure. So before I dive into that, I want to walk through a little bit about what our goals for the research were and show you the prototypes really quickly. So we had two overarching goals for the research. The first was to determine whether users can use the navigation to find and complete a variety of common subscription management tasks. And then the second goal was to determine whether the user understands the account concept. So when they have separate billing accounts, understanding that that information is separate and unique. And the second part of that is understanding that some information lives under the billing account and is shared with other billing managers. And then other info in CustomersDot is specific to the user in my profile. So like my name and my email address, for example. So those were our big goals. And now I want to dive in and show you the prototypes just really quickly that we tested. So before I dive into the prototypes, I want to note really quickly that the content of a lot of the pages was really created just for the purposes of this solution validation test. For example, the account settings page, the billing managers page, both of those have UX issues to develop those flows and those pages in more detail, but I needed something for the purposes of these prototypes, so I just threw something together. So I wouldn't think too much about the content of those pages. Additionally, the account landing page is something that we will explore in more detail in iteration 1C. So both of these prototypes have the situation where a customer has multiple billing accounts. The reason we wanted to test this, even though in iteration 1B customers will not be allowed to have multiple billing accounts, is because we want to make sure that the navigation scales to this use case, because this is where we're moving toward in the future. So we're testing this and then we can scale it back to just a single billing account. So both prototypes have this same account page as the landing page where you choose which account you want to manage. And then once you're into an account, you can switch between accounts. This is option 1. You can switch between accounts in this drop down in the left and navigate to different areas within an account here. And in the second option, once you navigate into an account, you can switch accounts from this button here. The account information is at the top, and then the pages within each account are down here below. So the main difference between these, the nav items are the same really on both. The main thing we wanted to test is the different presentation of the account and how to switch in between the two accounts. So let me dive into the results. So the first thing that we learned is users had no trouble navigating to common subscription management tasks, like finding details about their subscription, invoices, and payment methods. Secondly, users really understood the separation between accounts. So when they were asked to perform tasks for a given account, they clearly understood that they had to switch to that account before navigating to the page. So if I'd ask them to find the receipts for a given account, they would know that they'd have to navigate to that account to perform the task. When users were required to navigate to a given account, there were 50 instances of that. We had 5 tasks times 10 users. 49 out of those 50 instances, they did so successfully. One of our big findings was that option 1, this option, made it easier for users to switch between accounts. Option 1 was a lot more intuitive. All 5 users that tested with this account or with this option were easily able to find this and easily able to switch between accounts. In option 2, about 3 of the 5 users found this button quickly and were able to switch. Of the 2 users that did not find it quickly, one of them did eventually find it, but it took him a while. And then there was one user who never actually found this button. He was still able to navigate the site because every time he'd switch between accounts, he would go at home and then he'd choose an account and then he'd go into the pages. But obviously that's a much less efficient way of switching in between accounts. So option 1 really had the edge in allowing customers to switch in between accounts. Another of our findings is that users didn't really understand the separation between personal profile data and account data. When we asked users to update their email address, a lot of users looked in account settings for that information. Most users were able to find it in their profile eventually, but only 4 out of the 10 actually looked in the profile dropdown in the right initially. 6 out of 10 looked in account settings first. So I think there's an opportunity to add some more clarity there. Additionally, some users interpreted my accounts as being the same as my profile. So account and profile are pretty similar terms. This isn't a huge problem because these users were successful at updating their profile and their email address, so it's a minor problem, but we might want to consider in the future brainstorming and testing some different names for account. And then finally, users understood the general concept of billing managers, but not the specifics of their permissions. So when we asked users to add another user to oversee the GitLab subscription, 9 out of 10 were able to successfully add a new billing manager. One finding was that when folks were trying to do this, a lot looked in account settings. So I think there's an opportunity to test combining the billing managers and account settings page. Users knew where to look when we were asking them, does so-and-so have access to manage this account? Users would correctly navigate to the billing managers page. However, permissions were a little unclear, especially around payment methods. One of the tasks we asked was asking people to determine if Tom Jones, who was a billing manager for this account, could see and use this credit card. And some people got tripped up by this, thinking that it was Maria Garcia's card and it was personal to her. So I think there's an opportunity, and I detail some recommendations here about ways to make that a little bit clearer, especially as we build out this billing managers page in more detail, or potentially at the time of adding the credit card, making sure that it's very clear that credit cards can be used by any billing manager on the account. Anyway, there are much more detail to all of these insights in Dovetail or in the solution validation issue. The detailed insights are in both places. I would love if everyone had a look. Thank you so much.